Joining me today is Vasundhara Oswal. Thank you, Vasundhara. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Riddhima.
Vasundhara, you've been really brave in handling the whole situation, and thank you for sharing your story with us today. So you went to Uganda, you wanted to set up a ethanol plant over there. How did the whole incident happen? What was that day like?
So, Uganda was not new to me. I had been working in the country for the last 4 years. I started when I was 22 years old, and we started firstly from a greenfield project, meaning that we had to build everything from scratch. We had to level the land, get all the electrical connections done, get all the water connections done. So, we spent time developing what was a very remote area into an industrial hub that it is today. On 1st of October, I was meant to commission the plant. All right, so I came on 30th of September back from London to Uganda after spending a week with my family. And 1st of October, I was basically all set, to go in, commission the distillation that was starting up. But instead, what I was met with was these 20 police officers that came at like 6 a.m. in the morning to storm into the premises. When I asked them if they had a search warrant, to come in and raid the property, which they said they wanted to do in regards to a missing person, and a notice sent from Interpol Switzerland, they basically answered me with, we don't have any search warrant, but we are in Uganda, you are not in Europe anymore, and that we can do anything. So then I said, okay, you guys have to wait for my lawyer to get here. I'm not going to let you come in like this. After a few hours, my lawyer came. And then, because these guys weren't leaving, even though they had no search warrant, I felt like, okay, maybe I should just let them do the search so they, get off the property and leave, which they then proceeded to do. And they raided the property for like 3-4 hours. They went to each of the rooms. They woke up all of our employees, the people that were in night shift. They went to each of their rooms. They banged on the door. They woke them up. They looked underneath the bed. They looked in their cupboards. One of them went to the roof. He went up to the roof to start looking if there was something on the roof. And then after basically they couldn't find anything, I told them that, listen, you haven't found anything, so you need to leave now. Which they said, we can't leave right now. You have to come back with us for a meeting with our director. And I was like, okay, I can meet your director tomorrow. They said, no, it has to be today. I said, why does it have to be today? If you give us some time, even my father will come down. My father will meet with your director. So then they were like, no, it has to be you. You have to come with us. We're not leaving without you. I was like, I'm not coming with you, so you can do what you want. I'm not getting in with you. So one of the, there was about 20 officers, and 10 of them were in civilian clothes, and about the other 10 were, gunmen with AK-47s. So I started to proceed to exit, my house and the site. And I was like, listen, I'm going to go back home because you don't have charges for me. You don't have an arrest warrant for me. So I don't know why you're doing this right now. And after that, one of the male officers was like, listen, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. I said, what is the hard way? And he was like, the hard way is that I forcibly take you. So I'm proceeding to exit at this point. I'm like, listen, I'm not going anywhere with you. I'm going to go back home because you guys are acting like thugs and not the police at this moment. He then picks me up and he just throws me inside a van. And then I try to exit from the other side of the car, and there's this gunman with an AK-47 pointed at my face saying that don't you dare move. So that's how they then speed me off and they drive me to Interpol. And I met with this director who then says that I have to give a statement or I'll be withheld indefinitely. So I give the statement and I'm hoping, okay, after the statement, I hope they let me go at least. Once I give the statement, they still don't let me go. And they say, oh, now you're a suspect. You're going to be detained. But I didn't know what I was a suspect of. They didn't give me any kind of, indication of what they were doing. So that night, I've sent you the pictures of the cell. They put me in this really terrible cell. And the next morning, my parents are obviously very frantic. They're like, oh my God, what is going on? Why is this happening? And the next morning, I get a call from my father saying that, listen, we're going to try to get you a police bond. You're going to come out of this. And they're going to do this thing properly. This should not have happened to you. So my father told me that they're asking for about 30,000 USD and my passport to do this. Basically extortion. So we give in the 30,000 USD. We give in my passport also because we have no choice at this point. and I don't get the police bond. Even after this, they throw me back in the same cell. Then the next day, because my parents have basically lost trust in their system, they go to the court system and they push for an unconditional release order from the court. We get it. But even after we show them that unconditional release order, they still don't release me. They keep me in illegal detention for another 72 hours before on Friday evening taking me to a lower level magistrate court where they finally tell me what my charges are, which are kidnap with attempt to murder. And this is the first time I'm hearing what I'm charged with. After that, I was thrown in Luwero prison where they keep lower level convicts like people who are convicted for theft, smaller crimes. And then I'm transferred to Nakansongala prison where they keep higher level convicts like rapists, murderers, etc. Throughout my detention, I had there was no food I was given, there was no water I was given. I was not given a bath for 5 days. At one point, they didn't allow me to use the washroom. They locked me in a room for 24 hours as a way of adding more pressure on me. And basically, when I asked to use the washroom, they said, listen, you can pee on the floor. We're not going to let you use the washroom also at this point. So my human rights were completely violated. I feel like even after they found the man alive in Tanzania, they still didn't want to release me. They still kept the capital offense on me. And they still didn't want me to get bail on that pretext.
This person whose family put these false allegations, he was working with your father and...
Yeah, he worked for my father for a long time, in fact, as a crew member of his aircraft in one of his other companies. And he had taken a very large loan as well from my father, which I believe this is why he did all this, to get away from that loan and hopes that he can extort a lot more money.
Which day of your detention were you told about these allegations?
The last day when they were charging me and taking me to prison. So after 5 days.
After 5 days is when they tell you that what crime it's been.
Yes.
And there's also some angle of rivalry in the business is what it's been hinted at, the whole situation. Would you like to tell us more?
Yeah, it's not, if you look at it from a logical point of view, it's not possible for 20 police guys, with AK-47s to show up at your gate unless someone is tapping them from behind. And, my father's staff obviously don't have that kind of pull in, the country that they are in. It was obviously done by some other business competitor that really wanted to press and keep me inside. One of the people that came to visit me while I was in detention was actually another rival. And at that time, we were in good terms with him and we didn't know that he was behind all this. Okay. But when he came to visit me, he basically pulled me to the side and was like, listen, I think someone really big is after you. And I was like, okay, what do I do now if someone really big is after me? He was like that you should put your shares in my name because no one will touch me here. And then I can help you get out of this. To which I was like, I'm not doing that. And I then felt like there was a lot more to the story than what was being told at that point.
Would you like to name this person or who's involved with Mukesh and sort of...
Mukesh's brother has an employer that is our direct competitor. Mm-hmm. He also has a distillation plant. Mm-hmm. And then there was another competitor that also wanted to set up a ENA plant but was not able to because it costs a lot of money. And also technical backing is required. So it's not an easy entry as such. So basically it was those two people, and I think the business community in general just couldn't take the fact that there was someone that came in after 3 years and set up this huge plant, whereas people that had been there for 20 years didn't manage to.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.